Well, living in Florida can be crazy sometimes. Let's talk about it. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Movie Emporium's movie review of Nickel Boys, the newest film from director RaMell Ross. Okay, so Nickel Boys. Nickel Boys is inspired by true story of the Dozier School of Boys in Tallahassee, Florida. It's actually an academy called Nickel Academy in this movie, and it tells the story of a character named Elwood, who is a young kid who is sent to Nickel Academy because of racism in the Jim Crow era in the 1960s. And while there, he meets a character named Turner, who becomes like his really good friend, his almost soulmate in a lot of respects. But this movie also is really interesting because it's shot in the first person, and it basically shows the life of Elwood as well as Turner. And what this story does is it shows from their perspective about how crazy and abusive it truly was. It also brings in Aunjanue to Ellis-Taylor as the mother, who is the mother of Elwood, who is having to deal with the scenario as well as raising a kid on her own in a lot of respects. So it's basically inspired by true story of a real academy that was known for being truly abusive, and that's what this movie pertains in a lot of respects. So I'm not from Florida, to be fairly honest. As you are aware, I'm from Ohio. But the Dozier School of Boys is something that is kind of a black mark for Florida, especially in Tallahassee. It's known for its abusive nature. It's known for some pretty dramatic stuff, especially finding grave sites and stuff like that. Nickel Boys was a movie that I have heard about, but I didn't know much about. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know kind of what it was trying to do, what RaMell Ross was trying to do with this first person perspective. But as I kept hearing more and more about this movie, the more and more I became intrigued because I heard it was really good. I heard it was really powerful. It was unique. I heard that Aunjanue Ellis-Taylor is really good in this movie. And so finally, I was able to see this movie after a couple months of not being able to. And for my honest review of this movie, what I really think about it is it's a pretty remarkable movie, to be fairly honest. It's a pretty difficult movie to watch. There's a lot of implications and implying about what happened at this school. But what really sets this movie apart, and some people might think is a gimmick, is it's shot in the first person perspective, which is really interesting because you never see past the characters of Elwood and Taylor. You see them from the first person perspective. It sometimes switches between the two, but it gives a fresh perspective and a fresh look at to what it is like to live in a world where half the population of the country really hates you, and what happens when you are put into a predicament that is so chaotic and so abusive that you almost become entrapped by it. We see at some point Elwood and, of course, Taylor's character become adults, become older, and you see the ramifications, and you see the exploitive, abusive nature to it. You see everything that happens to these boys and how they become once they become adults, and Daveed Diggs plays the older Elwood. But when you get to the point when you see Elwood as a young kid with his mother, the Aunjanue Ellis Taylor character, to when he meets Turner at the school, there is a level of sincerity, there's a level of sadness, there's a level of powerfulness that this movie represents that is remarkable. It really is. This is an incredibly well done, well shot, incredibly powerful movie that, once again, that people might find as cheap and disingenuous, but I just found this movie just remarkable in a lot of respects. I think the two characters played by Brandon Wilson and, of course, Ethan Herisse do a fantastic job. It's portrayed two sides of the coin. I think it's really cool that you see both sides of the perspective. I think it really helps that it is a first person perspective because it gives a really unique take on what truly happens to someone. And I just thought this movie was remarkable. I think it's shot very well. I think it's one of the most beautiful movies I've seen this year. And it's a powerful message to what truly, unfortunately, happens in this world and what is still happening. This movie is remarkably prescient in what it's trying to say, because even though it takes place in 1962 during the Jim Crow era, you still see that in the nationality of today and what people do and how people react, how, you know, people of color in different circumstances are treated differently than people of, you know, non-circumstances and stuff like that. And this movie is just, it really is a powerful thing to watch, and it really is something that kind of hit me hard when I was watching it. I do think it's a little long, to be fairly honest. I think it could be cut down to like by 20 minutes, but I don't think it takes away from the message that RaMell Ross is putting on the screen and how he's portraying this school and how difficult it is for certain people in this world. And you watch, the Elwood character and the Turner character have to deal with the characters played by Fred Hechinger and the nature of like the racism that is presented. It's a movie that hits you really hard. It really does. It hits you in the gut, it hits you in the stomach, and then it just keeps hitting you and trying to make you realize that this world, this country we live in is not a perfect society, that it still isn't a perfect society. It's still dealing with this stuff. And I found this movie just incredibly wonderful. I found it really deep and really disturbing and really cautionary. It's a cautionary tale of what we go through as a society and how we approach things. And overall, I thought this was a magnificent movie. I really did. It's an incredibly powerful movie to watch, and really makes you think. So Nickel Boys is probably going to get a lot of nominations for at least, director and picture, most likely, but I think it's one that's recommended. I think it's one that you kind of have to go in knowing that it's going to be a difficult movie to watch, but I think it's a pretty powerful one. So with that said, that is going to be my take on Nickel Boys. Thank you so much for watching. In the comments below, if you've seen Nickel Boys, tell me what you think, honestly. If you liked it or you not liked it, tell me why. But if you like what you see on this video, awesome, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell at top to find what's coming next. If you like this video, awesome, hit that like button. And as always, we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out, guys.